Now, with respect to Libya, as I indicated in the last debate, when we received that phone call, I immediately made sure that, number one, we did everything we could to secure those Americans who were still in harm's way.
But did the president really do everything he could? Tonight, new evidence that the Obama administration knew the Libya attack was terrorism, even as it happened. Fox News obtaining internal State Department emails. The emails showing that an al-Qaeda-linked group claimed responsibility for the Benghazi attack as the assault was ongoing at the U.S. consulate. Former State Department official Liz Cheney joined us. Good evening, Liz.
Hi, Greta. Good to be with you.
Former Assistant Secretary of Defense Bing West has penned an article, and he says that we didn't move fast enough. We didn't try to do anything to save these four.
Yeah, I was really surprised, and it's hard for me to be surprised at this point by what I hear President Obama say, but to hear him say last night in the debate that we immediately did everything we could to make sure that people were secure. What we know now from the timeline and from the emails, the news that you broke just a few moments ago, is that in fact the White House was getting reports, the White House Situation Room was getting reports, that the embassy, or that the consulate was under attack, that you had Ansar al-Sharia claiming credit for the attack, and that for 7 hours they did nothing. We know from testimony of Charlene Lamb in front of Congress that they were following this in real time. We know there was a drone available overhead. We know that there were phone calls coming in, and again, for 7 hours they did nothing to move any of the forces that we had at Sigonella, Italy, for example, in to help protect our people.
Well, according to the article, Sigonella, Italy, is about 480 miles from Benghazi, which is about a little over an hour flight. And we didn't put any planes in the air. We didn't put our special ops in the air. We didn't even start moving anything to the region, to the area, should we decide, to go in there and try to protect them.
No, I mean, you've got a situation right now in the United States where we have obviously this huge news story of the presidential election, and the 2 weeks now from tonight you're going to be voting. You're going to know what the outcome is. At the same time, you've got this major news story of President of the United States not having provided the security that was requested, not responding when the consulate was under attack, and then frankly lying to the American people for as long as 10 days after the attack. I hope that if the media is doing its job tomorrow in the White House press briefing, the president will be asked, what did you do when you learned at 4 p.m., at 5 p.m., when you were sitting there with the Vice President and the Secretary of Defense? What did you do? Why didn't you order any action? Why didn't you order our forces in to help protect our people?
It's always easier with 20/20 hindsight to figure out what to do. And so, I'm a little bit hesitant, to be critical that nothing was done to try to save them, but it really is hard when they had 7 hours that we didn't even move any of our assets towards Benghazi. Bing West writes a story, as the former Secretary of Defense under Reagan, that we could have essentially buzzed the area in an F-18 and scared everybody and scattered everybody because those planes are so scary when they come over you at a close distance. But it's like we just sat and watched.
Right.
I mean, no one said, let's try something. Let's try to help these people. Let's try to save them. As best I can see, and I don't have all the intelligence, I don't have all the information, but it appears we didn't even, from what I have, we didn't do anything.
Well, it is impossible for me to believe that the Secretary of Defense would not have said to the President, here are your options, Mr. President. We need to know, did the President seek those options? Did the President then reject those options? And I also would like to know where the Secretary of State was in all of this, because these emails were coming in to the State Department, to the Situation Room, to the DNI. These are people that are directly under her responsibility and authority. Where was she at 5 p.m. on September 11th? What was going on? What did she recommend?
I guess, I'd love to know from the Secretary of Defense, why we didn't, if anything was done. Were things moved in secret that I don't know about to try to save these people? Because I can't think of these four sitting in this compound, and two we know died of smoke inhalation. I think it was two, at least the ambassador did. And they were there for quite some time. I don't know if we could have saved them or not. I don't know how long before they died in the 7 hours of hell that went on there. But I would like to know that we at least try to save our Americans, that we at least try to do something. And I will say with some hesitation, it's easy 20/20 hindsight on that issue.
Right, but I think also if you look in Bing West's article, he talks about President Reagan, and within a window of 90 minutes making the decision that you've got to order a plane forced out of the sky that we knew had terrorists on board. That was 90 minutes. He made the decision, you go do it. This is 7 hours, and you've got, because you've got the drone, and because you're following it in real time, and people are calling directly in saying, we're under attack. We do not know where the ambassador is. We've been hit with mortars. We've got a blocking movement, so we can't get to the annex. And, by the way, Ansar al-Sharia has claimed credit for this ongoing attack. And the President of the United States sat in the Oval Office and did absolutely nothing.
There's one odd. The first email came in at 4:05. There was another one at 4:54, though, that was a little bit peculiar. And it said something. It said firing at the U.S. diplomatic mission Benghazi has stopped and the compound has been cleared. A response team is on site attempting to locate COM personnel. I mean, that's sort of odd. But, of course, the other one came in at 2 hours later.
Right, and that we do know that there was a break in the attack. We do know, for example, that in terms of the mortar rounds that were coming in, they took the time to be able to realign and make sure that the mortar rounds were directed where they needed to go. We know it was a well-planned attack. You also know that some of the very initial information you get in is sometimes wrong, and that's absolutely true. So I think we need to know exactly what was going on when that second email was sent. But having said that, you had 7 hours. This wasn't a matter of
we need to hear from our government what happened, so we know. So we don't
exactly.
have to, and if they don't tell us, then we imagine things.
And not just from the government, from the President of the United States.
Liz, thank you.
Thanks, Greta.